Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to the long awaited and anticipated PvP guide for Enhancement Shaman. This will be sort of a beginner's guide where I will be covering literally everything from talents to gear to stat priority to macros to add-ons, tips and tricks, arena combos, literally everything, because that's what I do at the start of every single expansion, so new people that decided to try Enhancement Shaman actually have a clue, and I'm gonna be leaving you bookmarks down, so if you're not interested in everything, you can just skip to a part that interests you the most. So this guide will be a 2 or maybe 3-part guide. First I'm gonna present you everything about the shaman, then I'm gonna make a rotation guide. Now rotation depends on how long will the first video be. If it's too long, then I will make it in 2 separate videos, which will be uploaded one after another, and then the second part will be presenting you the second possible build, and there's actually a third build in the play, so I will see if I will make a 3-part guide or what I'm gonna do, but there will be 2 for sure. So first build that we are going to be covering is going to be the Stormbringer Wind Fury, which is one of my favorite, and second build is Totemic Clash, which is better just by a little bit because of that consistent damage, but it for sure doesn't have that big of a surprise damage as this Stormbringer has, and overall when we compare the game styles, I just enjoy this much more and fits me much more, so yeah, it's on you to decide after watching my guides. Anyway, without any further ado, let's start with the very first thing, which is the talents. So here we go, let's start with the talents. By the way, I think this is the part of the game that had the most talents ever in the whole World of Warcraft, where you have the regular shaman talents, this war band talents, enhancement shaman talents, and PvP talents. So I'm gonna start, with the most important one, which is kinda enhancement shaman 3, and this is how it should look like. So here, obviously, as I said, Storm Wind Fury, which can tell you that we are going to be focusing on Storm / Wind Fury abilities, so you wanna go all the way down to the Storm Blast, obviously taking the Doom Winds because it's gonna be a good part of our burst. Going through the middle to get the Feral Spirits, to get the Elemental Assault Witch, Doctor Ancestry, and Legacy of the Frost Witch, because those 3 are the most insane talents and really mandatory. For the middle one, there is really not much to speak, it's all about the Maelstrom and taking the maximum of it, and by going to the Overflowing Maelstrom, that's what you get. The right side is a little bit questionable because a lot of people with this build likes to avoid Lava Lash and just go pure Storm, and in this case it's actually good because Hailstorm combined with Ice Strike and Swirling Maelstrom can actually deal quite good amount of damage and helps you in regeneration of Maelstrom weapons. And there's obviously a Lava Lash, which is going to help you with that little bit consistent damage, and whenever you have nothing to play, which could happen with this build but rarely, then there's the Lava Lash to fill in, and after all the buffs it deals quite good amount of damage. So running down to Storm Flurry, Ascendance, Static Field, Storm Invocation, which is pretty sick. Now this one is only questionable because some people are playing it with deeply rooted elements, some people are playing it with pure Ascendance. Ascendance is still not at its best because we are waiting the new patch for it to get changed CD to 2 minutes, and but so will the deeply rooted elements be changed because it will be proccing even more, so it will still be debate. Now if you are going for some shorter game, for some duels, 1v1 and stuff like that, I'd recommend going Ascendance. And even if solo shuffle you feel like would be a little bit shorter than usual, then go for Ascendance. But if you know that the game will be longer, maybe in a battlegrounds and stuff like that, you should go for deeply rooted elements because during that time you will get more value out of this, because obviously 3 minutes cooldown is a little bit much, but I prefer going for the real Ascendance even in battlegrounds and in all the other situations, because that's just the thing, when I trigger somebody will die for sure. So yeah, I think Ascendance is now just a little bit better than deeply rooted elements, and we will see for the new patch. So about the Stormbringer talents, they're pretty straightforward, like there is no much choices. First choice here is in the middle between Stormwell and Arc Discharge, and you wanna go for the Arc Discharge because it syncs so well with the Ride of Lightning. Heck, they even have the same icon. So you definitely want to go for that. And other thing is a personal choice. I think nature protection is just a little bit better, because we are getting those tempests frequently, and whenever you do that you get 10% less damage taken for a few seconds. So yeah, kinda decent. So yeah, that's it pretty much about storing your talents, nothing much to say. Moving on to the regular shaman talents. Now these talents are the most personal thing I probably ever seen. Like if you are a guy who likes to purge, obviously you'll go for purge. Who likes to go for stun, go for stun. I didn't like it for some time because it's one of the most weakest stuns, but lately I tried using it a little bit. I'm pretty much toying with these talents, switching from time to time, trying something different. So this is my regular build, obviously going for that passive heal as much as possible, getting the third shield, getting that healing stream totem, which I think I'm gonna drop very soon because I don't see much value of it anyway. On the right side, going for a little bit hardness with that, Breaming of Light, Earth Elemental plus Primordial Bond, which helps a little bit if you're getting trained in a solo shuffle. Just pop your Earth Elemental, and for the next minute you will have more chances to survive, not by a much, but still I guess it's something. Here, very good thing is this increasing cold, which says Froshak snares its target by additional 10% and duration increased by 2%, which can really help. Obviously purge is a must. Like, in my opinion, if you are not Enhancement Shaman if you don't play the purge, and yeah, try to change my mind. Going for the lasso, for the thunderstorm, stone bulwark totem, which is also questionable, but it's at least some sort of defensive, so I guess we have to take it. And yeah, if I'm having to drop something while I'm playing against Assassin Rogue, I take the poison cleansing totem instead of seasoned winds. And that's it pretty much. Hex is also a must, tremor totem. So yeah, at the end it's personal choice. I've also seen some people using the wind rush totem, some people using the full stun, full hex, totemic projection, cleanse spirit, and in my opinion right now those are, just I don't want to play them. So yeah, totally personal choice. For me this build works fine, so feel free to try it yourself, and if it doesn't work then you can change whatever fits you well and makes your utility better. And last but not least, we have a PvP talents. Now we have a lot of good PvP talents actually, because Blizzard been adjusting it for quite some time, but unfortunately they are almost the 3 mandatory ones. So Ride of Lightning, if you're playing Storm build, if you're playing Stormbringer with Arc Discharge, is just a must, and you will get the most damage out of it, and it's such a good combination. Second must is, Shamanism, because it goes so well with the combo with Doom Winds, with Feral Spirits. So one of the things when I'm playing the Ascendance, I always try early to burn the enemy defensive cooldowns by popping up the Doom Winds, Hero, and the Feral Spirit, and they'll mostly get scared once they see the Hero popped. So after the next minute, once I get it, I already have my Ascendance of the CD, and I just go nuts and literally destroy them, because that's what Ascendants do. So in my opinion, that's why the Shamanism is most important. Grounding as well. You can soak literally any hard damage, any interrupt, burst, stun, whatever. So it's a mandatory 90% of situations, but if there are some hard melees that can't do much, that you have to look in the stars to see when should you pop, then you don't need to use it. You can just go for the Burrow, which is very good defensive, or Storm Weaver, where you can heal yourself for every Maelstrom stack you spent, or if there is a lot of purging, Electrocute, but I wouldn't recommend that. Also a lot of people playing with the Static Field totem, which is also good to catch people for the utility, but I feel like it's the weakest out of all. So if you are in situation to drop the Grounding totem, you can drop that and go for anything else. I would recommend mostly Burrow or Storm Weaver or Static Field. And if you're not, and you kinda need that defensive because you're gonna get destroyed, then go for a Burrow instead of Shamanism, but I would recommend sticking to Shamanism as much as possible. But out of those 3, if you had to change something, I guess this would be it. And again, grounding just in the situation where it's not needed, which is kinda rare, because in most content there is, always multiple people where you could use grounding for at least one of them. So yeah, yes, that will do. with the talents, let's jump on a stats and gear and stuff like that. So, moving on to the stat priority, it's a little bit questionable lately, but the ideal situation is if you are playing this Storm Wind Fury, which I'm just showcasing, then you should go for 20% of haste. Obviously in PvP combat you don't care about out of PvP, and rest go for the mastery. So yeah, right now I have exactly 20% of haste, 31% of mastery, and that's how you should work and balance through getting your gear. Now, speaking of the gear, we have an important thing, which is the tier sets, which are pretty much also a lot of questionable, because 4 tier piece bonus is not really that good as it used to be before they nerfed it, aka changed it. So the 2 pieces are literally mandatory because you get that pretty good damage increase. Now it's 5% in PvP combat, unfortunately, but it is still something, and it's better than nothing. So 2 mandatory pieces that you wanna go for are the shoulders and legs. If you wanna play other 4, make sure to grab yourself a head and hands, and chest you will leave out of it, because that's where you will gain the most out of it for the haste and mastery, which are your main stats. And I know some people are questioning that and going chest tier piece instead of head, because they kinda don't want to drop so hard on versatility, but versatility hasn't been a really big friend to us in a lot of time, and nothing has changed there, so it's better to just go for something else, and you won't be at the end dropping that much versa anyway. So yeah. Regarding the weapons and trinkets, I crafted this one, which is pretty good. Then you want to go for that recipe Ascendance, which grants you 89% of random secondary stats, which is going to be haste, stacking up to 10 times, which is a pretty good thing. Also, you have this Algari competitive ring, which you can also craft, and by the way, they are all 639 in PvP combat, which is the maximum for this season. And you wanna go for that shield thing because it's also pretty good. And yeah, crafting's been interesting, like no mandatory items like the boots in Dragonflights, but still there is quite a few good things. So yeah, again, with the stats you need to balance, go for 20% haste and pour the rest into the mastery. So it's up to you how you will manage it. Will you go for the mastery boots, but I don't know, haste finger, or opposite? Like, it's totally new, just make sure to get that exact stats and you will be good. For trinkets, obviously medallion and this insignia of Larcity, which is, you know, the best value and can increase your burst pretty well. So yeah, that's it pretty much about gearing. I've been also getting a lot of questions about the racials, so let's clear that. The best race for Enhancement Shaman right now is the Dark Iron Dwarf, the second best is Regular Dwarf, and if you're playing Horde, the third best, or should I say number 1 in Horde, is Orc, and that's it pretty much. If you wanna play anything else beside those that I said, you can go pretty much whatever, because they're all mostly equal and they're not even close to these ones, but by far the best one is the Dark Iron Dwarf, so that's what I recommend. But unfortunately it's only in Alliance, so if you wanna play Horde you won't be able much, but Orc will do quite well. So next thing on the list that I wanna talk about are macros, because lately I've been getting few comments here and there, hey, how you do that, how you do this, is that a macro, can you send me? So yes, of course. First of all, this is my macro list, and there is quite a few things. I use the most of my macros are the things about totems, and they are like once you press your, let's put it here you get the green cursor, but with the macro you can just press one button and whenever your mouse cursor is, it will place it there. So it actually saves you a lot of time, a lot of aiming and stuff like that, and you know, you need to double click, etc, etc. So I use that macro for the cap totem, for the earth bind totem, for the totemic projection, which I don't know if I can, yeah, it's here. There, relocate totem, then for the static field totem, but I'm not playing these two right now, so they're kinda in this question. Also, I'm using the macro for doing wins and heroism. That way I don't need to, because heroism is of the global CD, so you can actually put them in the macro and just use them at the same time when you're going to burst. Saves you again 1 or 2 seconds and clicks and stuff like that, so it's pretty good. There's also a macro for the hero if you're playing arena with someone and you want to give him as well and you're using the shamanism talent, then just use that macro and you will use it on him as well. Also, most important macros that you should not play PvP without are the macro for focus hex, for purge, for healing your ally, and for the most important one, win shared interrupt. So what I do is, I created a macro /focus. Whenever we start arena, I put the healer in focus, because obviously you're not gonna be attacking them in most of the situations. Obviously there are swaps and things like that, but don't get me wrong. And yeah, I put him in a focus, and that way, without targeting him or touching him, I can hex, I can purge, I can win share, I can do anything to him, and he will always be confused. He will never know when to cast something or do something, because he doesn't know when to expect the interrupt or anything. And thank God our interrupt is a ranged one, so we can actually do that with pretty ease. So yeah, those are all the most important macros. If you want my full macro list, I have it on my Discord server, which link will be down in the description and probably here on the screen right now. So make sure to visit there, copy anything you want, everything is totally free. So after macros, there always comes the add-ons. I'm gonna start with a pretty good one, which is ability team tracker, which is turned off now because what it does is track your allies' abilities of your party members. And lately I've been playing most of the battleground blitzes, and it's been annoying because it tracks from whole my group and it just makes me mess on the screen. So for the battlegrounds I turned it off, and for the arenas and shuffles and stuff like that I turn it on, and it just showcases the cooldowns of your party members, which is really good. I recommend. Very second one is the battleground enemies, which is most important add-on if you are playing these rated battlegrounds, blitzes and stuff like that, because it just showcases your whole enemy team, so that way you can see who are you up against. You can even target them, so if there's a rogue running somewhere, you can just target him, see through the map, he's there, okay, you know the position, or somebody took your flag. So it's very good and a useful one, and I recommend it. Third one is a big debuffs, which increases the debuff size of crowd control effects on the Blizzard raid frames. It pretty much explains itself, and it's also very good and mandatory in PvP, to increase that visibility so you don't get lost. Next one is capping. It's pretty much a battleground timer for PvP, which shows you the end result if your bases remain the same, or when the battleground will start, when the battleground will end with the timer and stuff like that. So it's also a very good one if you are a battleground junkie. Next we have the check PvP, which is pretty much like the site check PvP that exists, where you can check other people's. Well, you can do that also in game with this add-on, much easier, but yeah, it's nothing most important. And if you're not some, if you're not making any RBG groups and stuff like that, then you really don't need this. Next one is classic numbers. It's a vanilla style damage popping, which also a lot of you have been asking me, so yeah, there you go. Also the good one is the details, which tracks your DPS, and you can pretty much click here, get all the stats, see what's good, what's not, what your damage is, what your DPS is, and yeah, it's pretty good for PvP as well. Now, one of the most asked add-ons and the best in my opinion is flyplate buffs, which shows buffs/debuffs on enemy nameplates, which I pretty much get asked at least once a week, which is, pretty insane and good, and I recommend everybody to take this. There is also diminish, that lightweight diminishing returns tracker for hostile and friendly units. It's kinda messy in my opinion, so I decided to turn it on, but it's also not that good, so yeah, you can go for it, but I personally am not really. There's also an Omni bar who tracks enemy cooldowns, but also it broke up on me and I had a pretty good setup for it, so it became really ugly and messy on the screen and I just couldn't deal with it anymore, so I decided to turn it off. But definitely in some future I'm gonna set it up, and it pretty much helps you track the enemy cooldowns, which is very good and useful, so you know when they don't have the burst, don't have the defensives, when you should use your ascendants and stuff like that. Like at this point with my experience, I already know what somebody used, when used, approximately when the cooldown will come off, because I've been playing so much PvP, so it's not that important to me as it would be for you if you're a new player. So feel free to take it, download it, and it's a really good one. And one more, actually two more. There's a trophy GCD, which is the add-on that when I'm doing some spells, it displays them here above my bar, which is I would say mostly add-on for the streamers, aka YouTubers, just to showcase the viewers what spell they're using at the moment. Like nothing that if you're a casual player or just a normal player without any content creation need. And the most important one, the weak auras, which are these things here at the middle, which tells me when I have my Wolfies, when I have my Telmin Storm stacks, when I have my Hailstorm proc, you know, pretty much everything. So yeah, now it glows, tell me to use my Wolfies, there's the cooldown, I'm gonna use the Doom Winds, it as well, there are the Maelstrom, tracker, it glows, and it also has a siren, so you know when to spend your stocks. That way you can maximize your damage and everything without wasting your time or checking up here when you have a 10 Maelstrom stack, so it's really good. You also have a full list of my add-ons in my Discord server, and there are also the links so you can download them much easier. So yeah, make sure to visit if you're interested. And yeah, that will be it about the add-ons. Let's jump on the other stuff. So what you wanna do, how you wanna start your fight or your arena or anything, or pretty much before the gate opens, this is the things that you should do. You should apply a Wind Fury weapon, Flame Tongue weapon, your Lightning Shield, your Earth Shield if you are using that talent, and for the end use the Sky Fury to buff your whole group, and that's it pretty much. You're ready for battle, you're ready for anything. So these are the best combos that you should be playing if you wanna play arena. For 2v2, kinda the best combo would be Enhancement Shaman plus Healer, and right now best healer for that is Preservation Evoker or just Resto Druid. But if you don't wanna play that and you wanna play double DPS and you know have fun like I do, I never play 2v2 with a healer, then you can go either with a Red Paladin or double Enhance, which can be really good and busted if you're both running the Ascendants and Storm Weaver, so you can infinitely heal yourself, have insane burst. Also very good combo is Feral plus Enha, Windwalker Monk plus Enha, and Sub Rogue plus Enha, and yeah, those are the combos that I would recommend you. But I play mostly 2v2 just for fun, so I always go double DPS, either with other Enha, you know, for content because I'm enhanced as well, or with a Retri Paladin, which is, you know, also very similar classes in comp. For 3v3 there is always the good old Turbo Cleave, the Warrior, Enhance and Healer. Now in this situation probably Preservation Evoker, Resto Druid or Holy Paladin. Then you can make a really good combo with Windwalker Monk plus you Enha, and just, you know, pretty much any healer. Obviously aim for the best, which is Preservation right now in this expansion, and Holy Priest can actually be good there. Then you can also make a really good combo with the Rogue, mainly the Assassin and Sub. Now Outlaw once again is kinda underrated and not really played, but yeah, again same with the healer. And also Demonology Warlock plus Enhance plus again Preservation or Resto Druid or any other healer would make it fourth best combo for 3v3. So yeah, that's it pretty much about combos. And before we jump into the rotation, we actually have a few tips and tricks that I wanted to share with you. So the first one is the one that I kinda learned quite recently, which I mean wasn't in game that much, so you can know it from before, but Stone Bulwark Totem is actually a purgeable aka dispellable thing. So what that means that if you use it, the other Shaman, Demon Hunter, Mage, priest or whoever else has the dispel can just dispel it off of you, and boof, it's gone. Your shield is gone and you did nothing. So what you want to do to prevent that is to always use the Stone Bulwark Totem together with the Grounding Totem if you're playing against the class that can use the dispel. That way they won't be able to dispel it, they will, you know, waste their CD and their mana on that Grounding Totem, and you know, you will get the maximum value out of that shield, which isn't the brightest one, but I guess it's fine addition to our defensive system. The second one also pretty important is to play around with Totemic Projection, and it works quite well with the Static Field Totem, which I'm unfortunately not playing anymore because there is much better talents to play. But you know, let's say I took it, I trapped somebody here and I want to relocate him there, boom, you can do that. Also, Totemic Projection has the biggest range of all the totems and spells, so if you want to root somebody and you place your root there and you kinda didn't catch him, well, you can use your Totemic Projection, well, I screwed, and pretty much move it even further just by the 5 yards, but it still can help. Then, when you're using your Capacitator Totem, it's also the best thing to maximize your Capacitor Totem, because whenever you use it, people notice that because of animation and its size, so they just run out of that circle and you waste your Stun Totem. Well, with Totemic Projection, you used it here. Shit, I used the wrong one. I will wait for the CD. So, pretty much, you use your Cap Totem. Let's say player is here and he starts moving to the right, up, you do Totemic Projection, bang, you stun him. So it's a really good combo, and yeah, you should definitely be playing around it. Now it does require a lot of practice, so yeah, make sure to, you know, enter some regular battleground. You just keep doing that, keep spamming, and eventually you'll get a hand of it. Also, another very good and useful tip is not to waste your burst whenever you have it off the cooldown. And what I mean by that is when you're attacking the mage or warlock or any other class that can just instantly like that run away from you, root you, freeze you or whatever. That way, if you already used your Doom Winds or Hero or whatever, which most of people do once the arena opens, they target someone, use their CD, jump on them, and then they run away and your burst is gone. So you need to be more careful with that, and by saying that, if you're attacking mage, you need to approach the mage first, wait for him to spend his blinks, you need to spend him freeze, and then once you catch up with him, after that insane run away or mobility or CC, then you can use your burst. Same goes as against the warlock, where he can just teleport away from you, and it happened to me a million times where I would just go like a headless fly and jump on the warlock, use my CDs, and boom, he teleports, and that's it. While I catch up to him, my burst is gone. And that's literally for any other class that has the insane mobility like that, and there is quite a few for sure. Okay, unlike before, I decided to incorporate the rotation guide as well in this one, because I don't think it will be that long. Maybe I'm mistaken. Well, anyway, first of all, you need to learn your priorities. Your biggest priority and the biggest damage dealer is Storm Strike. Obviously, whenever you can, whenever you have it off the CD, you want to do it, unless you have the 10 Maelstrom stack weapons, which you should spend immediately on that lightning bolt, which is obviously what I said earlier. It's a mandatory to have a Maelstrom weak aura, that way you can maximize your damage, and as soon as you get the 10 stacks, you just hurl that lightning bolt. So, going for the when you're starting the fight, you always wanna start with the Feral Spirits, and you always wanna keep them on your CD, like whenever you have it free. That's the reason why we also have it as a main tracker here at the middle of the screen. So whenever you can have it, you should use it, and it will be resetting quite quickly because of certain talents and stuff like that. So you always wanna have them up, because those wolfies are boosting your damage as well. So how you start a fight is open up your Feral Spirits, go with the Storm Strike. Spam the Storm Strike as much as you can. If you have the 10 stacks, then use your Maelstrom, then use your Lightning Bolt, then go back into spamming Storm Strike. Now, once you don't have the Storm Strike on, or you don't have the 10 Maelstrom stacks, the next you wanna use is your Ice Strike, and following that you wanna use your Hailstorm, because that's how you maximize your Frost Shock damage with the Hailstorm. So if you don't have anything else with that, then you wanna go for the lava lash, and that's it. Pretty much how you go. For the flame shock, it's really not a game changer or anything, and you just wanna keep them on druids, rogues, and probably hunters, so they can't re-stealth, and other than that you don't really have much use of it. So spam storm strike as much as you can. Whenever you have the feral spirits, use them immediately. Whenever you have the 10 maelstrom stacks, use it immediately. If you have nothing, go for the ice strike, hailstorm, lava lash, and just keep going for that. Regarding the burst, obviously in burst you wanna use your feral spirits, you wanna use your doom winds and heroism, and that's kinda I divide the enhancement shaman burst in two groups: soft group and a hard group. Soft group is doom winds, heroism plus feral spirits, which are there to help you burn enemy CDs and makes them for the big burst, which is the ascendance. And especially if you can combine ascendance with heroism, then it's a total killing machine. And obviously in that time you will also have feral spirits for sure, because they are insanely resetting. So that's how you should go. So this is how you start your rotation. Start with the feral spirits, go into the storm strike, spam them as much as you can, then ice strike, then spend 10 maelstrom. You have the storm strike again, then go for the hailstorm. You have nothing, go for the lava lash. And yeah, because I'm fighting Domi, this will happen. Then storm strike, then 10 maelstrom stacks again, storm strike again, ice strike, storm strike, and boom, you have a tempest. Using this, storm strike again, have nothing, go lava. Just wait for the other thing. Again, this won't happen in PvP, then tempest again, and stuff like that. So yeah, we already, look, our wolves are still out, and we already got them off the CD, which is perfect. So let's do this with a burst. You start with this, doom winds, hero, this 10 stacks, this 10 stacks already, storm strike, ice strike, 10 stacks, storm strike, lava lash, 10 stacks. This, you see, it's really going, it's really flowing. So main priority storm strike, then 10 maelstrom stacks, and if you have none of those, ice strike, then use that hailstorm, and it deals also quite a good amount of damage. And then once this happens, you can go for the high burst, wolfies again, and just go for the ascendance. Now make sure that when you use ascendance and you have the tempest proc, you want to use the tempest manually. You don't want it procced, you don't want it used with the ascendance, because that way you will minimize your damage, because tempest only spends up to 5 maelstrom stacks and not 10 to get the full potential of the tempest. So that's one of the mistakes that the enhancement shaman does frequently, which is they just keep spamming the wind strike and they have tempest on proc, and that's a big mistake, because the damage of tempest will be pretty low in that moment. And what you need to do is pretty much use your tempest manually and then keep on spamming the wind strikes. And so yeah, that's it pretty much about rotation. It's nothing hard, it's pretty simple. Just know your priorities and you need to practice it. It will take some time, but trust me, you will learn it. There's no doubts about that. So, by saying all of that and covering literally everything possible in this game in PvP for Enhancement Shaman, we have come to an end of this video. If you guys have any questions, make sure to ask them. Of course, I'm always answering every single comment that I get. And if you wanna, support the channel and you like this guide and you wish to see more Enhancement Shaman PvP content, make sure to subscribe, like the video. That will help me a ton, that will boost this channel, and that's kind of what we are trying to do, to grow to a new goal of the 5,000 subscribers, so please help me out. Also, if you want to watch me live play, discuss with me things there, play with me together, some BGs, arenas or anything like that, make sure to visit me at twitch.tv/Sektor888. I'm streaming whenever I can because of my work, and it's usually around 5 to 6 p.m. Central European time, up to the 4 or 5 hours after that. So yeah, make sure to visit me if you're interested, and that's it for this one. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one.